Aaron had never expected anything extraordinary to happen on an ordinary Thursday. The sun rose lazily over Earth's Space Academy, bathing the sleek metallic buildings in a warm glow. Students hurried to their labs, carrying datapads and devices that whirred and beeped. Aaron, a brilliant but humble human scientist, was already at work in his small lab, tinkering with a prototype of a device he believed could revolutionize energy transfer. He adjusted a tiny component and watched the device hum to life. The small blue light flickered steadily, signaling success. A smile tugged at Aaron's lips. For weeks, he had worked tirelessly on this project, pouring in every ounce of his energy, and now it was finally showing promise. The lab door hissed open, and a messenger robot rolled in carrying a shimmering envelope. Aaron frowned. He rarely received personal messages, and certainly nothing that looked this unusual. The envelope floated slightly in the air, glowing with soft golden light. Aaron hesitated, but finally reached out and touched it. The moment his fingers brushed the envelope, a holographic projection burst into life above it. A deep, melodic voice echoed in the lab. "Aaron Cade, you are invited to the Intergalactic Summit of Knowledge and Diplomacy. Your attendance is requested by the Galactic Council." Aaron blinked. He had read about the Galactic Council in his studies, but he had never imagined they would notice a human, let alone him. This must be some kind of joke," he muttered, adjusting his glasses. But the golden envelope glowed brighter, confirming the authenticity of the invitation. Within days, Aaron found himself aboard a sleek spacecraft, leaving Earth behind. The ship's engines hummed softly as it glided into the star-strewn void. Around him, other humans and a few curious alien observers were chatting nervously, all heading to the same summit. Aaron felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. He had spent his life studying the stars, but now he was about to meet civilizations he had only dreamed of. The summit itself was breathtaking. The main chamber floated in space, suspended by invisible energy fields. Alien delegates from dozens of species moved gracefully through the room. Their appearances were as diverse as the stars themselves. Some had translucent skin that shimmered like opals. Others had multiple limbs, while a few resembled humanoids with subtle differences, like glowing eyes or unusual markings. Aaron felt small among these beings, but he also felt a strange sense of pride. He was human, and humans had never been known for advanced diplomacy or interstellar travel. Yet here he was, invited not as a visitor, but as a potential contributor to the galaxy's future. As he wandered through the summit, examining alien technology and displays, one figure caught his eye. She floated gracefully across the room, her presence commanding attention without a single word. She had long, flowing hair that shimmered in shades of silver and lavender, and her eyes were deep pools of violet, reflecting intelligence and curiosity. This was Princess Lyra, the Young, royal of the Amethysta sector, known for her sharp mind and strong personality. Aaron had read about her in the summit's briefing materials. She was said to be clever, proud, and sometimes difficult to impress. And yet, here she was, looking at him with what seemed like genuine surprise. The moment of surprise turned to curiosity as Aaron accidentally triggered a small demonstration with one of his human inventions. He had meant it to be a minor test, but the device projected a holographic map showing a new, highly efficient energy system for interstellar travel. The aliens gasped, murmuring among themselves. Even seasoned council members leaned closer, their expressions a mix of astonishment and admiration. Princess Lyra raised an elegant eyebrow. "This human, he is remarkable," she whispered to herself, almost as if she couldn't believe what she was seeing. Her advisors glanced at her, nervously. "Your Highness, remember, humans are simple. Their science is rudimentary compared to ours." Lyra shook her head. "No," she said firmly, eyes still on Aaron. "This human has something different. Something I have not seen in a long time. Aaron, oblivious to all this, continued his demonstration, explaining the principles behind the device with simple, clear words. His explanations were grounded in logic and creativity, something that even the alien counselors found refreshing. It was not just the technology. They noticed his thought process, his ability to think quickly and solve problems under pressure. After the demonstration, murmurs spread across the room. Delegates whispered about this unexpected human, praising his ingenuity and courage. Some even speculated about his potential role in intergalactic projects. Then, the moment came that no one expected. Princess Lyra, still looking stunned, approached Aaron. Her royal presence made the surrounding air feel heavier, almost magnetic. She stopped before him, her violet eyes wide with disbelief. You are being considered as a partner for the Amethysta Royal Initiatives?" she asked, her voice a mixture of shock and disbelief. Aaron blinked, frozen. "Wait, what? Me?" "Yes," she said, her tone firm but tinged with something else. Curiosity, maybe even a hint of respect. "The Council has proposed your involvement. Not as a guest, but as something far more significant. Wait, did you choose me as your life partner?" Her words hung in the air like a sudden storm. Aaron could only shake his head, feeling completely unprepared for what had just happened. He had imagined many things about visiting alien worlds, but never this. The notion that a royal princess might consider him, not for science, not for diplomacy, but for partnership, was beyond anything he could have imagined. The room seemed to hold its breath as Aaron tried to respond. He wanted to explain, to ask questions, to understand how this had even happened. But the words stuck in his throat. Around him, the alien delegates watched silently, sensing that something extraordinary was unfolding. Princess Lyra, on the other hand, remained composed, but visibly flustered. Her advisors looked horrified, while other council members exchanged knowing glances. Somehow this human, so ordinary in appearance, had captured attention and stirred emotions in ways that no one anticipated. Aaron swallowed hard, finally managing to speak. I don't even know what to say. I didn't choose this. I was only trying to show human technology." Lyra's eyes softened. Just a little. "It seems you humans are full of surprises," she said quietly. Then, with a slight nod, she turned and walked away, leaving Aaron standing there, heart racing, mind spinning, and a galaxy of possibilities stretching before him. For the first time in his life, Aaron realized that this summit was not just about science or diplomacy. It was about connection, courage, and the potential for humanity to shine among the stars. And somehow he knew that his journey had just begun. Princess Lyra could not stop thinking about the human, Aaron Cade. She paced her private chambers aboard the royal ship, her long silver lavender hair brushing against the polished floor. Her advisors had been clear. Humans were simple, fragile creatures. Yet here was one who had impressed the entire Galactic Council, who had displayed ingenuity, calm under pressure, and a curiosity that rivaled the greatest minds of her sector. "Your Highness," one of her senior advisors began cautiously, "we must consider the implications. A human is unpredictable. They cannot comprehend royal duties or customs. Their inclusion may embarrass the crown." Lyra stopped pacing and turned to face him. "I am aware of the risks," she said firmly. "But his mind, it is unlike any human I have studied. There is creativity, courage, something that I cannot ignore." The advisor raised an eyebrow. "Your Highness, creativity is admirable, yes, but a human life partner, the council, the people, they will not understand." Lyra clenched her fists. Perhaps it is time they see beyond what they think they know. Humans are not just simple creatures. I will learn if he is worthy. Meanwhile, on the human side, Aaron was struggling to adjust. After the summit, he had been escorted to a luxurious observation deck aboard an alien vessel, where he could see entire star systems spinning in the void. The view was breathtaking, but the realization of his new role weighed heavily on him. "I didn't sign up for whatever this is," he muttered, to himself. "Life partner? Royal initiatives? I'm a scientist. That's it. That's all I know." A soft chime announced someone entering, and before he could react, Lyra appeared, her presence commanding yet graceful. She regarded him with a mixture of suspicion and curiosity. "Aaron Cade," she began, her voice calm but firm. "We need to discuss what has been proposed." Aaron blinked, scratching his head. "Yes, of course, Princess. I mean, Lyra." He realized immediately that calling her princess made the situation feel more formal than he could handle. Lyra raised an eyebrow. "Do you understand what it means to be chosen as a life partner in Amethyst Society?" Aaron shook his head quickly. Not really. Honestly, I understand human partnerships, marriage, trust. But your culture is so different. I don't even know where to start." Lyra sighed. "You are human. That explains the simplicity of your understanding." She paused, then added softly, "Yet I find it refreshing." Their first days together were filled with misunderstandings. Aaron's explanations of human customs, holding hands, mutual respect, working together, were often met with blank stares or confused expressions. In turn, Lyra's rituals, which included ceremonial bows, intricate hand gestures, and formal speech patterns, baffled him completely. At one point, she demonstrated a traditional greeting, which involved touching the forehead with the back of the hand and saying a poetic phrase in her native tongue. Aaron, trying to replicate it, accidentally knocked over a small holographic display. Lyra stared at him, eyes wide. "You humans are chaotic," she said, though a faint smile tugged at her lips. Aaron scratched the back of his neck. I'm trying. I promise." Despite the confusion, Aaron's honesty and willingness to learn began to impress Lyra. Unlike her advisors, who judged quickly, he asked questions, listened, and tried to understand her world without fear or prejudice. Slowly, her surprise began to turn into admiration. In a private moment, Lyra confided to Aaron, "I have never met a human who asks questions in the way you do. Most either fear us or bow too quickly. You challenge me without disrespect." Aaron laughed softly. "I guess humans are good at asking questions because we're always curious. It's how we survive, how we improve. I don't see why it should be different for interstellar politics." Lyra studied him carefully. "You are brave, I will give you that. But bravery alone is not enough for what the Council demands." Their conversations often spiraled into debates about ethics, leadership, and the responsibilities of power. Lyra found herself enjoying these discussions, even when she disagreed. Aaron's perspective was different, unbound by centuries of tradition, and it forced her to reconsider many of her assumptions. Yet, not everyone was pleased with this unusual pairing. During a formal council meeting, Lyra's advisors whispered constantly, warning of scandal and political fallout. "Your Highness, humans cannot be trusted with royal influence," one of them murmured. "They will make mistakes, embarrass you, or worse, threaten the stability of your rule." Lyra's eyes flashed with irritation. "Or perhaps you underestimate them. Aaron has already shown ingenuity beyond most of the council. If he can contribute this much to science and diplomacy, imagine what he could do for us in other matters." Advisors exchanged uneasy glances. They were not used to being challenged, especially by a young princess. Yet Lyra's conviction was unwavering, and her confidence in Aren began to sway some of the council members. Despite the tension, Lyra and Aren shared small victories together. Aren's explanations of human logic helped simplify a council debate about resource allocation, impressing delegates across multiple species. Lyra began to see that his mind was as valuable as any royal training she had received. One evening, Lyra invited Aren to walk along the observation deck. Stars stretched infinitely in every direction, painting the darkness with shimmering lights. Aren looked out in awe, still marveling at the vastness of space. "Do humans often think they are so small?" Lyra asked quietly. Aren shook his head. "We used to. But we've learned to look beyond that. We survive by thinking big, by imagining possibilities that don't exist yet. I guess that's why I'm here." Lyra smiled faintly. "And yet, you still seem surprised by everything." "I am," Aren admitted. "But maybe that's not a bad thing. Surprises make life interesting." For the first time, Lyra laughed softly, a sound like chimes in the wind. It was unexpected, light, and genuine. She realized that beneath the political tension and cultural differences, there was something refreshing about this human. Something that stirred curiosity and perhaps, in time, respect. And more. As the summit continued, whispers about the unusual partnership spread among delegates. Some were skeptical, others intrigued. Aren and Lyra had become the center of attention, not through politics or power, but through the simple acts of curiosity, honesty, and courage. By the end of the week, Lyra found herself thinking less about the absurdity of the situation and more about the potential it held. Could a human truly rise to her world's challenges? She wasn't sure, but she knew one thing. Aren had something special, something worth discovering, and for Aren, every moment with Lyra was a lesson, a challenge, and an adventure. He didn't know what the council had in mind, or what the future held, but he was determined to face it. For the first time, he realized that being human was not a weakness, it was a strength. Together, they were about to embark on a journey that would test their minds, hearts, and courage in ways neither could yet imagine. The day Aren and Princess Lyra were assigned their first interstellar mission, the royal starship buzzed with energy. The council had designed this mission to test their compatibility, not only as partners but also as future leaders. The task seemed simple at first: visit several alien worlds, study their resources, and negotiate peaceful agreements for cooperation. Yet both Aren and Lyra knew it would be far from ordinary. Their first stop was Oranax, a desert planet with scorching suns and shifting sandstorms. The planet's inhabitants, the Oranaxians, were cautious and highly territorial. Lyra had negotiated with them before, but Aren was unfamiliar with their strict customs. "Stay calm, Aren," Lyra whispered. As they disembarked, "Follow my lead, and whatever you do, do not touch anything without permission." Aren nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. The desert heat was intense, and the alien gravity made his movements slightly awkward, but his eyes sparkled with curiosity. "This is incredible. The minerals here could power starships for decades." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Focus on diplomacy first, science later." The Oranaxian leader, a tall creature with crystalline skin that shimmered like the sands, approached them. His eyes glowed a soft amber as he spoke in a melodic tone. Lyra stepped forward, speaking fluently in the native language. Aren watched, trying to absorb the subtle gestures, the tone, and the etiquette. When it was his turn to speak, Aren bowed slightly, smiled politely, and explained the benefits of cooperation. In human terms, simple, logical, and honest. The Oranaxians seemed skeptical at first, but his clarity impressed them. Soon negotiations moved forward, with Lyra and Aren working seamlessly as a team. She guided the cultural nuances, while he offered practical solutions that no traditional diplomat had considered. By the time they left Oranax, both felt a sense of accomplishment. They had learned to rely on each other. Lyra's understanding of alien politics, Arin's human ingenuity. Their next challenge was Virelia, a lush jungle planet teeming with giant flora and fauna. The Virelians were gentle but had a strict code. Anyone entering their territory must solve a puzzle to prove respect for the land. Lyra glanced at Aaron nervously. "This is your domain, I think. Humans excel at thinking outside the box." Aaron examined the puzzle. A complex series of stones that needed to be arranged in harmony with the river's flow. He studied the patterns, feeling the pulse of the water through his hands. Using logic and creativity, he placed the stones correctly, producing a harmonic resonance that pleased the Virelians. Lyra's eyes widened. "I did not expect that." Aaron grinned sheepishly. Humans have a knack for improvisation. On Virelia, danger was not far behind. While exploring a dense jungle, they were ambushed by a pack of enormous predators, beasts with glowing eyes and sharp, crystalline claws. Lyra readied her royal energy blade, but Aaron noticed a narrow passage that could allow them to escape without fighting. "Follow me," he whispered. Together, they ducked and dodged through the jungle, working in perfect coordination. Lyra's agility and combat training, combined with Aaron's quick thinking and knowledge of physics, helped them evade the beasts safely. After the adrenaline faded, Lyra looked at Aaron with a mixture of relief and admiration. "You think fast and differently. That saved our lives." Aaron shrugged modestly. "I just look for solutions. Humans are trained to survive by adapting." Next, they traveled to Scifi, a technologically advanced planet where the inhabitants valued intellect and strategic thinking above all else. Here, the challenge was political rather than physical. They had to mediate a dispute between two influential Xiphorian families. Lyra handled formal introductions and ceremonial rules flawlessly. Aaron observed patterns of argument and logic, then proposed compromises that addressed both sides' needs while maintaining fairness. The Xiphorians were impressed by this unusual blend of human simplicity and alien diplomacy. "Your methods are unconventional," one of the leaders said, eyes wide. "But they work. Remarkable." Lyra allowed herself a small smile. "Perhaps humans are more adaptable than we thought." The final leg of their mission took them to Kelora, a planet of floating islands and volatile weather systems. A rogue storm threatened a settlement, and they were tasked with evacuating the inhabitants. Lyra's energy shields and Aaron's quick calculations of wind patterns allowed them to coordinate a rescue efficiently. As they guided the last group to safety, Lyra glanced at Aaron, a hint of admiration softening her expression. "You are remarkable. I see why the council considered you. Your mind, your courage, it complements mine in ways I did not expect." Aaron felt a warmth in his chest. "And you lead with such confidence. I've never met anyone who inspires trust so naturally." For the first time, they acknowledged the growing bond between them. Not romantic yet, but mutual respect and trust. Each challenge had tested their patience, intellect, and courage, and each had proven the other's worth. When they returned to the royal ship, tired but triumphant, Lyra's advisors hesitated to speak, knowing the mission had succeeded. Against all odds, even skeptics had begun to whisper among themselves, impressed by how well the human and princess had worked together. That night, Lyra invited Aaron to the observation deck. Stars stretched infinitely, reflecting their achievements and the adventures yet to come. "Do you realize what we've done?" she asked quietly. Aaron looked out at the galaxy, thinking of deserts, jungles, stormy skies, and alien civilizations. "We survived. And we learned. Together. That's what matters." Lyra nodded. And yet this is only the beginning. The galaxy is vast and challenges are endless, but I feel stronger knowing we can face them as a team. Aaron smiled. Humans believe in teamwork, and I think we make a good team. Lyra's violet eyes softened, her earlier shock and skepticism replaced by cautious admiration and trust. In that moment, both realized that their partnership was not just about duty or council orders. It was about understanding, respect, and shared strength. The stars outside seemed brighter than ever, reflecting the promise of a journey that would take them across the galaxy. Trials awaited, but together, Aaron and Lyra had proven one undeniable truth, that human courage, ingenuity, and empathy could shine even in the most alien of worlds. And for the first time, Lyra began to wonder. Perhaps humans were more extraordinary than she had ever imagined. When Aaron and Princess Lyra returned from their journey across alien worlds, the royal starship landed gracefully on Amethysta Prime, Lyra's dazzling homeworld. From orbit, Aaron could see massive crystal cities rising out of emerald forests, their spires glittering like diamonds under twin suns. The sight was breathtaking, and for a moment, he forgot all about politics and responsibility. But Lyra did not forget. She knew the moment they stepped onto Amethysta soil, her people would judge Aaron with sharp eyes and sharper tongues. To many, he was still an outsider, an ordinary human who had somehow captured the attention of the Galactic Council. As they descended into the royal courtyard, crowds gathered. Citizens of Amethysta whispered among themselves, staring curiously at the human beside their princess. Some looked impressed, others doubtful. Lyra held her head high, but inside, her heart raced. Aaron leaned closer and whispered, "They're staring like I've grown an extra head." Lyra's lips curved faintly. "To them you might as well have. A human standing beside me is something they never imagined." Inside the royal palace, the council chamber glowed with soft violet light. Rows of advisors sat in semicircles, their eyes fixed on Aaron. Lyra's father, King Thamar, a tall and dignified figure with the same silver-lavender hair as his daughter, presided at the center. "Daughter," he said, his voice calm but powerful, "you have returned from the trials. Tell us, has the human proved his worth?" Lyra hesitated. All eyes turned toward her. For a heartbeat, she considered her pride. She had never imagined standing here, defending a human before her own people. But then she remembered Oranax's scorching deserts, Varelia's jungle predators, and Kalora's raging storms. She remembered Aaron's quick mind, his steady courage, and his willingness to risk himself for others. "Yes, father," she said clearly, "he has." A murmur rippled through the chamber. Some advisors frowned, others exchanged doubtful looks. One elder rose to his feet. "Your Highness, with respect, a human may be clever, but cleverness alone does not make him a leader. He has no royal blood, no understanding of our history, no loyalty to our people." Aaron felt the weight of their words. He stood straight and replied politely, "That's true. I'm not royal, and I don't know your traditions. But I've faced challenges with Princess Lyra, and I've seen that when we work together, we succeed. I may not have your history, but I bring something different, human perspective. Sometimes different is what you need." The chamber fell silent. His words were simple, but they carried a sincerity that made even the skeptics pause. "King." Thamar studied him carefully, then nodded slowly. "Perhaps you are right. Still, words must be proven with action." Soon after, Lyra and Aaron were given their most delicate challenge yet, handling a political dispute on Amethysta itself. Two powerful noble houses were feuding over control of a valuable crystal mine. Both sides were stubborn, and the conflict threatened to divide the kingdom. Lyra prepared carefully, memorizing every law and precedent. Aaron, however, approached the problem differently. He asked simple questions. What do both sides truly want? Is there a way they can share instead of fight? His questions made Lyra pause. She realized he was seeing the problem not through tradition, but through practicality. During the negotiation, tensions rose quickly. The noble lords argued loudly, pointing fingers and making accusations. Lyra's royal authority kept them in check, but it was Aaron's calm reasoning that shifted the debate. What if, Aaron suggested, instead of fighting over the mine, you create a joint council to manage it together? Share the profits, share the responsibility. That way, neither side loses, and both sides gain. The nobles blinked in surprise. Such a simple idea had never occurred to them. After much grumbling, they reluctantly agreed. Peace was restored, and whispers spread throughout the palace about the humans' unusual but effective wisdom. Later, in the quiet of the palace gardens, Lyra sat beside Aaron under the glow of crystal lanterns. The air was cool, filled with the scent of blooming flowers. For the first time in weeks, she allowed herself to relax. "You surprise me, Aaron," she admitted softly. "Your methods are unrefined, even reckless at times. But they work. You see solutions where others see only tradition." Aaron chuckled. "Humans don't have long traditions compared to you. We're still figuring things out. Maybe that's why we're always looking for new answers." Lyra turned to him, her violet eyes thoughtful. "At first, I thought this arrangement was impossible. I believed humans were too simple, too fragile. But you have shown me another side. You make me question what I thought I knew." For a moment, silence stretched between them, filled only by the soft hum of the garden fountains. Aaron looked at her, realizing how much she had changed since the day they met. She was still proud, still fiery, but now her pride was mixed with curiosity and respect. "Maybe that's the point," Aaron said finally. "You learn from me, I learn from you. Together we're stronger than either of us alone." Lyra's lips curved into a rare, genuine smile. "Perhaps you are right." Their growing bond did not go unnoticed. Across Amethysta, opinions began to shift. Citizens whispered about the unusual partnership, some mocking it, others admiring it. The council was divided, but the undeniable truth was that Aaron had proven himself in ways no one had expected. But just as acceptance began to grow, a new shadow appeared. Reports reached the palace of a rogue faction gathering strength on the outer edges of the galaxy. They were violent, unpredictable, and rumored to be preparing for war. In the council chamber, grim faces surrounded the table as news spread. King Thamar's expression was heavy. "If these reports are true, then the peace of the galaxy is at risk. We will need allies and leaders capable of uniting them." Lyra's gaze shifted to Aaron. He met her eyes, and in that instant, they both understood. Their journey of respect and learning was only the beginning. Now they would be tested in ways far greater than political debates or survival trials. The galaxy itself was calling, and this time, failure was not an option. The royal palace of Amethysta was alive with tension. Messengers hurried through its crystal halls, carrying grim reports from the outer sectors. The rogue faction, known as the Dravari, was growing stronger. They raided border colonies, hijacked trade routes, and spread fear among weaker civilizations. The Galactic Council was unsettled, but fear made unity fragile. Every world wanted to protect itself first. Princess Lyra stood before the council chamber, her violet eyes sharp with determination. "If we do not stand together, the Dravari will tear us apart one by one," she declared. Some counselors nodded, but others hesitated. "Why should we risk our people?" one alien delegate demanded. "Let humans and Amethysta deal with this." Why involve us all? Before Lyra could answer, Aaron stepped forward. His voice was steady, not loud, but filled with conviction. Because the Dravari aren't just a threat to one world, they're a threat to all of us. If you stay silent today, you'll be their victim tomorrow. Humanity learned long ago that unity is the only way to survive, the delegates murmured. His words carried weight not because of rank, but because of truth. Many looked at the human with fresh eyes, wondering how someone so ordinary could speak with such courage. Lyra glanced at him, surprised yet proud. He is right, she added. Alone, we are vulnerable. Together, we are unstoppable. Thus began the most difficult mission of their partnership, traveling across the galaxy to persuade civilizations to unite against the Dravari. Their first stop was Nerath, a water world covered by vast oceans. The Nerathians were cautious, preferring isolation to war. Their leaders floated in shimmering orbs of liquid, speaking in calm, rhythmic tones. "We do not fight," said the elder. "The sea teaches patience. Conflict is waste." Aaron listened carefully, then nodded. "On Earth, the sea also teaches us something. Waves are strongest when they rise together. One drop of water cannot stop a storm. But an ocean can." The Nerathians exchanged looks. His words resonated with their nature. At last, the elder inclined its head. "Perhaps you are right. We will listen." Next, they traveled to Takaros, a mountainous planet home to fierce warrior clans. The Takari respected only strength, and they laughed when they saw a human step forward. This one, too small, too soft. "He cannot lead," their chieftain scoffed. Aaron did not argue with anger. Instead, he proposed a challenge. "Not with weapons, with ideas. You believe strength wins battles, but what wins wars is strategy. Test me, and I'll prove it." Intrigued, the chieftain agreed. They set up a war game, moving pieces across a board that represented armies and terrain. The Takari used brute force, but Aaron thought carefully, using traps, diversions, and patience. Slowly, he outmaneuvered them until victory was clear. The warriors erupted in surprised roars. The chieftain slapped the table and laughed heartily. "You fight with your mind. Perhaps that is a strength greater than muscle. We will join your cause." Lyra watched with quiet admiration. Each time, Aaron found the right way, not by pretending to be like them, but by showing humanity's unique gifts. Their final and most difficult visit was to Zyros, a world scarred by ancient wars. The Xerians distrusted everyone, their people divided and bitter. When Lyra and Aaron arrived, they were met with suspicion. "You promise peace, yet all alliances end in betrayal," the Xerian leader sneered. Aaron took a deep breath. He remembered Earth's history, the wars, the mistakes, the lessons. "You're right," he said simply. "Humans also fought countless wars. We destroyed, we suffered, we betrayed. But we learned. We learned that if we don't rise above hate, we lose. Everything. We are not perfect. None of us are. But if we try together, we can be better than our pasts." The chamber fell silent. The leader studied him for a long moment. Then, slowly, he said, "Perhaps. This human speaks the truth. We will consider this alliance." Piece by piece, world by world, Aaron and Lyra built the coalition. It was not easy. There were arguments, doubts, and even threats, but humanity's courage and Amethysta's authority worked together like two halves of one whole. At last, the day came when the United Fleet assembled. Hundreds of starships filled the void, their formations stretching across the stars. Each ship carried the banner of its world, but all stood under one shared cause: stopping the Dravari. On the command bridge, Lyra looked at Aaron. "Do you see this? Worlds that once ignored each other now stand side by side. This is what you inspired." Aaron shook his head. No, this is what we inspired. Alone, I could never have done this. But together, we gave them hope. Lyra studied him silently, her expression softening. For the first time, she admitted to herself that this human was no accident, no mistake. He was exactly what she needed, not just for the council, but for herself. When the Dravari finally struck, the battle shook the galaxy. Their fleet was massive, their weapons brutal. Alone, no single world could have resisted, but united, the coalition fought back fiercely. Aaron worked alongside Lyra on the command deck, analyzing enemy patterns, suggesting maneuvers that caught even the Dravari off guard. Lyra commanded with royal authority, her voice steady, her people fearless under her lead. At one critical moment, the Dravari unleashed a devastating attack on the coalition's central line. Panic rippled through the fleet. Aaron quickly studied the data, his eyes narrowing. They're overextending. If we redirect power here and here, we can cut them off. Lyra trusted him without hesitation. She relayed his plan, and the coalition responded. Ships moved in perfect coordination, trapping the Dravari's strongest vessels in a deadly crossfire. The tide of battle shifted. Hope surged through the coalition as they pushed the enemy back. As the Dravari fleet retreated, defeated, the coalition erupted in cheers. For the first time, civilizations that had once stood apart now celebrated as one. On the bridge, Lyra turned to Aaron. Her eyes were shining, not with pride alone, but with something deeper. "You were right," she whispered. "Humans do bring something no other species has. You bring hope where there is none." Aaron smiled wearily. "And you bring the strength to make hope real. Together we did this." The victory was theirs, but both knew the story was not over. Challenges would continue, threats would rise again. Yet for now, they had proven something powerful, that humanity, against all odds, could stand among the stars and make a difference. Word count: 950. Part 6. A New Beginning. Among the stars, the war against the Dravari had ended, and the galaxy was changed forever. The coalition fleet drifted in orbit around a neutral star system, its ships battered but proud. Each vessel carried scars of the great battle, yet each stood as proof of unity that no one had believed possible. For Princess Lyra, victory was not just about survival, it was about proving that hope could overcome fear. And strangely, she knew that this victory would never have happened without the human who now stood at her side. Aaron looked out at the fleet through the grand viewport. He had never seen so many civilizations working together before. Ships of different shapes, colors, and designs moved in harmony, like pieces of a single orchestra. For a man who once thought he was insignificant, this moment felt unreal. Lyra stepped closer, her royal cloak flowing behind her. "The galaxy owes you a great debt, Aaron of Earth," she said softly. He gave a tired smile. "I didn't do it alone. I just reminded them of what they could be." Lyra's gaze lingered on him. For the first time, she allowed herself to speak what had been growing inside her heart. "Do you know why I chose you as my partner that day? At first I thought it was chance, but now I believe it was destiny." Aaron blinked, caught off guard. "Destiny? Me? I'm just a normal guy from Earth." "Normal," Lyra repeated with a faint laugh. "Perhaps on Earth, but here, among the stars, you are anything but normal. You gave courage to worlds that had lost it. You gave me strength when I doubted myself. You are extraordinary." Aaron felt warmth rise in his chest. He had never thought of himself that way. "And you," he said quietly. "You gave me a chance to prove myself. Without you, none of this would have happened." Days turned into weeks as the coalition began rebuilding. Delegates met daily to discuss treaties, trade, and security. For the first time, the Galactic Council was more than a council of words. It became an alliance of action. Aaron often sat beside Lyra during these meetings, not as a noble or a soldier, but as her partner. At first, many questioned his presence, but when they remembered his role in uniting them, none dared to challenge him. Some even sought his advice, curious about the human perspective. Still, not everyone was at peace. Whispers spread across the halls of power. Some envied humanity's sudden rise. Others doubted whether humans could truly fit into galactic politics. Lyra noticed the whispers, but she remained firm. "Let them speak," she told Aaron one evening. "Their words cannot erase what you have already proven." One night, after a long day of negotiations, Aaron and Lyra walked through the palace gardens. The twin moons of Amethysta glowed above, casting silver light over crystal flowers and shining ponds. The air was calm, filled with the gentle hum of alien night creatures. Aaron stopped near a fountain, staring at his reflection in the water. "Lyra, do you ever wonder if I really belong here? Among royalty? Among star fleets? Among beings who live for centuries?" Lyra stepped beside him. "You belong here more than you realize. Not because of bloodline, not because of power, but because of heart. The galaxy needs more like you." Her words touched him deeply, but before he could answer, she surprised him. She reached out and held his hand, her fingers gentle yet firm. "Aaron, I do not just see you as an ally. I see you as my partner, not only in duty, in life." Aaron's eyes widened. His heart raced, stunned by the honesty of her confession. "You mean that?" Lyra nodded. "Yes. At first, I chose you by surprise, but now if I had to choose again, with all the worlds watching, I would still choose you." For a long moment, Aaron was silent. Then, slowly, a smile spread across his face. "Then, I'd choose you too. Every time." The news of their bond spread quickly across the coalition. Some were shocked, others doubtful, but many saw it as a symbol of what the new galaxy could be. Different worlds coming together not through fear, but through trust and love. At the next council gathering, Lyra stood with Aaron at her side. "This human is my partner," she declared boldly. "He is proof that unity is not just possible, but powerful. If we can stand together, then so can all of you." The hall erupted in applause. Even those who once doubted could not deny the truth. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, not through conquest or wealth, but through courage, heart, and hope. Months later, peace blossomed across the galaxy. The coalition grew stronger, its fleets patrolling to keep threats at bay. Trade flourished, and for the first time in centuries, civilizations dared to dream of a future without fear. On Amethysta, preparations began for a great celebration, the Baas Festival of Unity, to honor the coalition and its heroes. Crystals lit up the city. Music filled the air, and beings from every world arrived to take part. In the center of the festival, Lyra and Aaron stood together, watching fireworks light up the sky. Colors unlike anything on Earth danced across the heavens, reflecting off the crystal towers. Aaron whispered, "This is beautiful." Lyra smiled. "It is more than beautiful. It is the beginning of a new era." He looked at her, the alien princess who had once surprised him with her choice, and now stood by his side as a true partner. "And we're in it together," he said. She squeezed his hand. "Always." As the fireworks blazed above and the galaxy celebrated below, Aaron realized something profound. He was no longer just a human far from home. He was part of something greater. Humanity's story among the stars had only just begun, and he would help right it, together with the princess who chose him and the galaxy that now believed in them both. For the first time, he no longer doubted himself. He knew who he was. He was Arin of Earth, partner of Princess Lyra, and together they were proof of the greatest truth. Humanity could stand among the stars and shine.